want to step up your fitness game and track your movements and the weight that you lift and the sets and repetitions for each session that you do. And you want to do that in a very easy way so that for every session you can just enter your weight, and then over time you can also have a graph of how your weight on the key compound movements, namely deadlift, bench press and squat, has increased or decreased over time for you. If that is something you'd like to do, then this Coda feature might be very useful for you. So Coda is this app where I've been developing a workout system, which basically is meant to be very similar to an app to track your workouts. And thanks to buttons in Coda, you can quickly track workouts and also get charts based on the weight that you lift over time, all in one single tool. In this example, let's look at a session that is pull 1. Let's say you have a pull day right here. So you're training your back muscles mostly. And so in here, we have a page for this session. So that's a session. You have the date and the time where you're going to execute this session. You have the duration. Let's say it's going to be 60 minutes. Then once you complete it, you can check this box, but that's not time yet. And we see that here there is a select property, which is at the session level, we are looking at the pull workout. But at the program level, we are looking at the program called Test 1. And that's because there are many layers in a training program. And that is the program overall. Then you have the sessions within each program. Then you have the movements within each session. And finally, you might have the tracking of those movements so that you can gather data over time and see how much weight you lift and how your 1 rep max improves or decreases over time. And this is the logic of this system here. So this session, which is pull 1, is part of the overall program Test 1 that is defined right here. And within this session, right below it, in the hierarchy, there are movements. So there are multiple movements that we're going to perform in the pull session. And these are mostly back leg movements, so that you pull, for example, the bar towards you or the barbell towards you. So for example, we might have bent over row, we might have chest supported dumbbell row, we might have a lat pull down, so 2 horizontal pulls and 1 vertical pull. But let's say you want to choose another movement for this session specifically, then we can just choose row right here. And let's say we also want to do a bit of a bodyweight row as a finisher. Of course, we're going to have sets and reps as well, which right now it's not our focus really. So here we have the movements for this pull workout. We have the patterns, so we know we have 3 horizontal pulls and 1 vertical pull. Here we have a video for the proper execution of each movement, in case you need some reference right there. You can directly watch it from here as well. And then you have track details. So at the end of your session, maybe during your session, you can click this button and then track your details for the bent over row. In this case, we know the movement is bent over row. I did 3 sets for 12 reps at 1 minute rest with a weight of 60 kilograms. And then if you have any notes, you can write them down here, like felt very good, can increase weight next time. And now you're done. You've just tracked the weight for bent over row, and you can repeat the process for every movement within this pull session right here. Now, when you go back to your movements tab right here, you can see that for bent over row, the max weight that you tracked is 60 kilos. That's because we just tracked it once, and the max weight that I lifted based on the system that I tracked is 60 kilograms. So the next time you will track again the bent over row, if you do 62 kilograms, here you will have that new max weight added. And if you want to track your bent over row max over time on the chart that we have right here, the strength charts, then you can check this box. Otherwise, you can keep it unchecked. In this example, we are just tracking the 1 RM over time for deadlift, bench press, and squat. So the 3 compound core movements of every resistance training program. And if we go to the strength charts right here, we see that there are 2 different strength charts. The first one is your max weight per core compound movement. And that means bench press, squat, and deadlift. So right now we have only bench press and squat because I haven't tracked any weight for deadlift yet. But once I track it, then here we will have the 1 RM added as well as an additional data point. That's going to be deadlift and then the red dot based on the 1 RM. And so when you hover over that, you will see that the back squat 1RM that I've ever tracked is 82 kilograms, for example, and the bench press 1RM I've ever tracked is 65 kilograms, for example. And down here instead, you can see your progression over time per compound movement. So not just your 1RM, but actually how did you progress over time whenever you tracked that movement. So in this case, for bench press, squat, and bent over row, we are looking at, for bench press, for example, so before October 4th, I tracked 60 kilograms. And then if you look at October 7th, we have 65 kilograms. So there is a 5 kilogram increased weight right here. And then here we have the same for back squat. And if you want to zoom in, when you have many data points, you can just drag and drop with your mouse, and the graph will zoom in, and then you can reset your zoom right there. And that is how you can simply track your sessions and the movements within each session in the simple Coda concept that I've been developing. And that might be part of a bigger template that is basically meant to be an app to track your workouts at the program level, at the sessions level, movements, and then all the weight over time, and how it improves or decreases your performance and what you can do about this once you have that data. And all of this information will be bundled in a simple dashboard that is going to be the main dashboard where you can see the workouts of your week, the workout of the day, and keep track of everything quickly on the go, either on mobile or on your laptop after your session. The way to set up this button that can allow you to track your movements and the weight lifted is through a button in Coda. So this is a table, and in tables you have columns. Columns are similar to spreadsheets columns, but in this case they are specific to one type of data. And one such type of data in Coda is a button that you can push to automate an action that is related either to this same table or to a different table. In our example, our movements table is related to our movements tracker, which is what allows us to have that historical record of all the lifts and the weight lifted and sets and reps. But the relation is not really essential when it comes to using a button, because here the column type is button right here, this one right there. And then when we look at the settings, button options, we have the label, which is what is shown on the button, which is track right here. Then you have the action, and here you can select from a list of actions for this button. What do you want to do with it? Do you want to add the row, add or modify, delete, and you have all these other actions. But for this specific use case, what we want to do is we want to add a new row to the movements tracker table. So that's what we do. We add a row, and then here we select the location where to add the row. In our case, we want to add the row to our table that is called movements tracker, this one right here. And from there, we want to set the value movement is this row dot movement name, which means we are automatically updating the relation between our movements and our tracker table, so that whenever we add the new tracker entry, that entry is automatically related to our movement. For example, if we add a new entry for bent over row and we push this button, then we automatically know that that row in the movements tracker table is related to bent over row, which is part of the movements table. Next up, here we want to decide whether we want to open the row for editing or not. This means whether you want to open the pop-up so that you can enter the weight, sets, reps, rest time, or not. In this case, we do, because it's important that whenever you click on track, you have the option to enter all your data. Results column, in this case, is not really important, and this allows you to update a related column automatically, but we don't need that. Here, we can disable this action if there is a specific use case for which we don't want it to run. But in this case, there is no use case. Then we can pick the button color. In this case, it is red, and the icon as well, which in this case is a double right facing arrow. Next up, badge. We don't need any badge really here. And then we have show alert, where we can do only for errors, never, or every time. So in this case, we have only for errors, but actually I want to turn it to every time, so that every time you click on the track button and the entry is successfully entered, so you have all your data tracked, then this app will give you a success message, which is always convenient for the user to know that what you entered is actually stored somewhere. And that's how you set up the button and how you can make tables communicate with each other in Coda. That's it for now. Thank you for watching and see you soon.